Now look, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite or anything because I have said in the past that I would love to turn Harry Potter into a Game of Thrones style HBO TV show. You adapt a book a season, all that kind of stuff. But I also said that under the condition that I would be making the thing, and also I would expect to make this thing in maybe like 20 years time when I'm like 42, 43 years old. Not right now. The fact that Warner Brothers Discovery wants to reboot Harry Potter for TV right now, 12 years after Deathly Hallows Part 2 is released, is ridiculous to me. Yes, you can argue the fact that it's okay to reboot Harry Potter because Philosopher's Stone came out, what, 22, 23 years ago? But it's also just weird because Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out almost 12 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember going into primary school one day and my mum was just like, okay, you have to leave at this time because you have a dentist appointment, and then after that we'll go watch Deathly Hallows Part 2. And then so I left school ready to go to my dentist appointment. I met with my mum and my mum was just like, oh yeah, there is no dentist appointment. We're gonna go watch Harry Potter. We went in, we watched it, we had the 3D glasses on, but they had like customized 3D glasses that were shaped like Harry Potter's glasses. It was cool. I remember it like it was yesterday. And so just the concept of rebooting Harry Potter is just so weird to me because Harry Potter is so ingrained in the cultural zeitgeist. Look, don't get me wrong, I want to reboot Harry Potter for TV. I think Harry Potter is more suited for a serialized TV format, but the fact that you want to do it so soon to me is just ridiculous. Not to mention the story behind the decade-long filmmaking journey of the Harry Potter franchise is so special. Like what, you're just gonna shut down King's Cross again for this new series? You're gonna film around certain parts of London like in Charing Cross and all that just to get all the specific locations that are described in the book? It's just gonna be weird to do that all over again so soon. Especially considering from a business perspective, Harry Potter is still ingrained in the cultural zeitgeist because you still have things like the theme parks and the studio tours. Like what, is Warner Brothers just gonna fork over the money to redesign everything to make it look like the new stuff? Or are they just gonna reuse everything like the sets and all that just to make it feel like Harry Potter again? But then if you're gonna make everything look and feel the same, then what's the point of rebooting it? And then you get to the whole casting process. Like one of the main things about the Harry Potter franchise that is so special is the fact that you have all these classically trained theatre actors as the supporting cast. You had Richard Harris, you had Michael Gambon, you had Maggie Smith, you had Alan Rickman. But who are you going to get in this generation to replace them? Yes, there are maybe one or two actors that you can get, like Richard Madden, or Kit Harington, or Kerry Condon as, say, Professor McGonagall. You could probably do that. But when it comes to, say, capturing the magic of casting someone like Alan Rickman as Severus Snape, you're not going to really be able to do that in present day. Like, yes, you might be able to grab an actor that will be good for the role, but then also they won't be as well established. It just won't feel the same. I feel like the only way you'd be able to get around this roadblock is if J.K. Rowling decided to break her rule of casting only British actors, and you started to go and cast actors from the States like Adam Driver as Severus Snape or something, because at the end of the day, I just can't think of anyone that would be specifically suited to play these roles right now. Like, can you imagine anybody else other than Richard Griffiths playing Uncle Vernon, or Fiona Shaw playing Aunt Petunia, or Maggie Smith playing McGonagall? Like, it's really hard to do that. Like, yes, I'm sure you probably can find actors to do that, but at the end of the day, there is a magic behind the creation of the Harry Potter franchise. Like, can you really capture lightning in a bottle twice? Because, I mean, Harry Potter is just so ingrained in people's brains, it's all over the pop culture. Every time Daniel Radcliffe has a movie coming out, what do people say? Oh yeah, it's the film with Harry Potter in it. Like, people just see Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, and I don't know if they're ready to see a younger generation try and be Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But then again, I could be entirely wrong. This could be a Game of Thrones Season 8 to House of the Dragon Season 1 type situation where people hated the idea of doing House of the Dragon after Game of Thrones Season 8 because people thought Game of Thrones was a dead franchise after Game of Thrones Season 8. But now, when House of the Dragon came out, people fell in love with it, and all of a sudden people love the idea of doing more Game of Thrones spin-offs. But then a point I'm going to raise is, what is the purpose of rebooting Harry Potter when there's still so much spin-off material of the original Harry Potter franchise that you can still do? I have a sneaking suspicion that the reason why they're trying to finalize this TV show deal is the fact that they can't get the original trio back to do Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And therefore, I think Warner Brothers Discovery and J.K. Rowling are just deciding on a reboot, because if they can't do Cursed Child, then they might as well just reboot the franchise. Which I think is a mistake right now, because it's still way too soon. What they should be doing right now is focusing on spin-off material. You have things like The Marauders, you have things like Quidditch Through the Ages, you have things like Tales of Beedle the Bard. I've talked about this before. So I don't understand why their immediate conclusion is to go, oh, yep, just reboot Harry Potter straight from the beginning. Just because the Fantastic Beasts franchise wasn't successful, it doesn't mean the fact that another spin-off series would not be successful. Take, for example, Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't played the game personally, but I've seen bits and pieces from it, and it looks cool. That game was a huge success despite J.K. Rowling's controversies and all that kind of stuff. at the end of the day, it was an incredibly successful game. That means that people want Harry Potter stuff, they don't necessarily need Harry, Ron, and Hermione. So doing the Marauders would not be a bad idea. In fact, it'd be a great idea because you'd still be able to go to Hogwarts and you'd have the magical experience of having these young kids be in Hogwarts, but it would be James, Lily, Sirius, you know, all that kind of stuff. I can't be able to listen, but it would be Harry's like parents when they were younger. You'd be able to still capture the magic of going to a magical school. And you'd also have the familiarity of the Harry Potter franchise because it would be a prequel. Not to mention the fact that you could pull in talent like Richard Madden to play an older James Potter and, you know, Kit Harington to play an older Sirius Black. So they can do things like the Order of the Phoenix's first fight against Voldemort in the first Wizarding War. You could see all that kind of stuff. And granted, I would like them to finish off the Fantastic Beasts franchise in some way. Maybe do a TV movie where you do the fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Because when it comes to the Fantastic Beasts franchise, The Secrets of Dumbledore I thought was the best one. And it ended in a way that did kind of wrap it up as a trilogy. Like, yeah, they beat Grindelwald in a way, but he was still out there. And you even said, oh, if you ask me, we can come back and we can defeat him. So, in a way, there is potential to finish off that story for good, and I would like them to do that. But then also, when it comes to the box office, The Secrets of Dumbledore was the worst performing one, and you can't really make another one, because if you do, I don't think it would make as much money. But also, I don't think The Secrets of Dumbledore was given a fair shake, because there was the whole Ezra Miller controversy, we were still coming out of the pandemic, J.K. Rowling got even to more controversy, and it was kind of like, things just happened that, in many ways, impacted The Secrets of Dumbledore negatively, and I don't think it was quite fair. And so I personally think maybe a spin-off TV movie about Dumbledore fighting Grindelwald, and you bring in Newt Scamander, and you have Newt and Tina marry and all that kind of stuff. You basically do a Fantastic Beasts 4, but it's not actually called Fantastic Beasts 4. It's just called, you know, The Greater Good, or The Life and Lives of Albus Dumbledore, or something like that. You just make it a Dumbledore-centric movie, and you have cameos from Newt, Tina, and all that kind of stuff. They're just like the side characters in that one. That would just make sense. I don't know, maybe you do a spin-off series with Jude Law playing Dumbledore, you call it The Life and Lives of Albus Dumbledore, you do all the Grindelwald stuff, you show him fighting Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald, and then you do flashback stuff with a younger Dumbledore and Jamie Campbell Bower back as young Grindelwald. This stuff kind of writes itself. I don't know why Warner Brothers Discovery's immediate decision is to go, yep, reboot the franchise. Also, according to the articles, J.K. Rowling is attached to this series as an advisor so that the series can be more accurate to the books. And whilst I can understand that, because I do feel like a Harry Potter TV show needs to be more accurate to the books, because the films are very good adaptations of the books, but they're also not the most faithful. Like, if I was to give it a ratio, it's maybe, what, 75% to 25% accuracy rate? But a question I do want to pose is J.K. Rowling's involvement actually going to make an impact on the accuracy of the series? Because we all know J.K. Rowling. She loves to just recanonicize things and add things and make things up on her Twitter all the time. So, in this series, are they going to make Hermione black? Are they going to make a more multicultural and diverse cast? Which is not going to be a problem, because when you look at shows like The Rings of Power and The Wheel of Time, the problem is not the multicultural cast, it's the creation of the show, it's the storytelling of the show that is, like, really bad. And because the quality of the show's storytelling itself is bad, it gives those bigoted people on the internet an excuse to target those minority castings and go, oh, they're the reason why this thing sucks, when inherently it's the bad storytelling. This whole situation to me is just really weird, because I do want to reboot Harry Potter for TV, and I think Harry Potter would make a very good television show. But also, I want to make it. But also, I don't trust that right now this is being motivated for the right reasons, because it's just way too soon. When I first heard the news, I was all for it. I was like, oh yeah, sure, cool, yeah, you can reboot Harry Potter for TV. Yeah, that's fine. But then the more I thought about it, the more I hated the idea, and the more I realized that this is probably not going to be a good idea right now. I can completely understand Disney making a Percy Jackson TV show, because right now, Percy Jackson needs a good adaptation, because although I like the Lightning Thief film, the films aren't good adaptations of those books, and Percy Jackson itself is a franchise that has a lot of potential. And it's just going to be weird seeing Harry Potter and Percy Jackson potentially on air at the same time, especially considering how there are a lot of similarities between Percy Jackson and Harry Potter as a whole. I don't know, it's just a weird situation, and I personally think that Warner Brothers Discovery is handling the Harry Potter franchise in a bad way, because my immediate reaction is not to go straight to a full-on reboot. Like, just do spin-offs. I don't get why they're not doing spin-offs. It's like if they were to suddenly just go, yep, we're just going to reboot Game of Thrones from the beginning. I mean, they probably will eventually when the books are finished. if George R. R. Martin ever finishes the books. But right now they're just like, yep, spin-off, 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 and they're finding success in that. So why not just spin off stuff in Harry Potter? But those are just my thoughts on the whole situation right now. I don't think turning Harry Potter into a TV show is a bad idea. I just think that it's way too soon and there's too many things that conflict with the idea of turning it into a TV show. Namely just how iconic those films are. Like, it just feels weird to do it right now. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. Until we meet again, see you guys next time.